Good morning. Cool and humid is the new thing, I guess. I think it's like 60 something degrees with like 88% humidity. It's supposed to rain in a little over an hour, so I want to get this run in. Hopefully not get wet at the end, we'll see. But what I'm going to do today is, last week I matched up the Fast-R 3 with the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris and Adios Pro 4 and realized I kind of omitted the other Puma shoe from that equation, the Puma Deviate Elite 3. So today I'm going to match up the Deviate Elite 3 and the Fast-R 3 and kind of go over what the differences are between those two shoes. But just like last time, I'm starting out in a heavier shoe for the warm-up, but this time I went with the Puma Mag Max. So I'm going to have an all Puma day today. And as I've done in a past video, I compared the Mag Max to the Brooks Glycerin Max. I really struggle saying that shoe's name for some reason, but I very much prefer the Puma to the Brooks. It feels a lot bouncier to me. It's also stable, just a better shoe for me overall. So I'm gonna do a warm-up mile in these, switch to the Deviate, and then close with the Fast-R and compare those shoes, how they feel today. Well, all right, Mag Max. Usually for a warm-up mile, I'm looking to run over 8 minutes. So like 8 minutes or a little bit slower. That was a 7:41, and I think I was like 148 heart rate, so I was still in zone 2 for my heart rate, again running faster than my easy pace. These shoes have that thing that the Evo SL have, where they're like, you can run faster than this, come on. I feel so much better when you run faster. Don't you want to run faster? So even though this is a max cushion shoe, a daily shoe you can use for easy runs, it has such a pleasant bounce to it that it really encourages you to kind of pick up your turnover a little bit, pick up the speed a little bit. So quite a different thing for me running in this than the Glycerin Max. I just love this shoe and I do not like Glycerin Max. I know some people love that shoe, it's not for me. But I think today is going to be a celebration of Puma, basically, because the 3 shoes I'm running in today are all excellent. I think Puma is one of the strongest running brands out there right now. I have not run in a single shoe from them that I haven't liked. So they're actually killing the game right now. So up next will be the Deviate Elite 3. We'll see how those perform today. All right, so I changed to the Deviate Elite 3, and I was walking in my kitchen area and these were really squeaky, and my wife commented on that and said, those shoes are really squeaky. And I said, that's the aliphatic TPU, and she gave me a dirty look. So putting these on, holy crap, do they feel lighter. I think the first shoe was 12 something, these are 7 something, so again about half the weight, so really light. This midsole compound is great. Like, it's a really great combination of squish and bounce without being too soft. You can really feel the energy return in this shoe even when you're just walking here, that it's giving it back to me. So let's see how we do. So I think that was about a 6:11 or a 6:12. I'll get the official when I get back. It felt faster than that though. This shoe is incredibly light and bouncy. It just kind of feels like you're flying between steps. I have just over 75 miles on this shoe now. With that mile, I think it put me over 75. I was 74 something. And the crazy thing is, I actually haven't taken these for a race yet. I really need to get them into a race soon. I've used them for a lot of speed training when I'm doing like 800-meter reps and things like that, and they perform excellent at that. One thing that Puma has done too is I feel like they really have dialed in the fit of their shoes. I do not have a wide foot. Puma shoes run narrow, so if you have a wider foot, that won't apply to you, what I just said. But I kind of just have a normal volume foot, and Puma shoes manage to fit securely, snugly, without being too tight where they're uncomfortable. It's narrow in the toe box, but it has enough length. I have about a thumbnail, half a thumbnail length between my big toe and the front of the shoe in my normal size 12. So they're true to size. I don't have to go a half size up. They hug my foot really nicely. The upper is comfortable. I think they did some magic with the tongue of this shoe too, where it's kind of wide. It's not gusseted, but the laces go through it on the side in two places. A lot of shoes have just that one in the middle that doesn't really do anything. It still slides. But this, having those laces go through the tongue on the side, really holds it in place. And there's the perfect amount of padding right where you lace up the shoe. So no lace bites, super comfortable, light, fast, cruisy, propulsive. I should have ran the marathon in these, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't consider them, but I would say for the majority of people, you probably don't have to spend the extra money to go to the Fast-R 3. Although I probably shouldn't say that before I run it again and then it blows me away and I'm like, spend the extra money. But this is quite serviceable at its current price point. All right, it's time for the Fast-R 3, the culmination of Puma's research and technology, computer modeled, tested extensively by 15 people to prove how fast it is compared to other super shoes. I do a video on my channel about a Puma study if you want to check that out. But very hyped shoe, very hard to get. They've had 2 drops so far, sold out both times. I have run a marathon in these now, so I have them just over 30 miles. I find this to be probably the fastest shoe I've ever run in. The combination of the bounce and propulsiveness that you get from this is really unmatched in any other super shoe that I've used. Some feel bouncy, but they don't feel as propulsive. Some feel more like they're driving you forward, but don't have as much ease to them. This one has like a really nice blend where it feels easy to run fast, which is kind of the whole point of this type of shoe. However, it also is helped by the fact that it's so light. It's the lightest shoe that I've ever had. But it's not for everyone. It has a weird heel design. I think if you're a heel striker, this shoe's not gonna work as well for you, but if you can land on the midfoot, that's where like the midfoot to forefoot of the shoe has the best feeling foam and plate combination that I think I've ever had in any shoe. It just feels amazing when you're rolling off that toe. Which is really the strong point of this shoe. For me personally, being a larger runner, I did run a marathon in these, but having the choice between these and the Deviate Elite 3s, I think I'd pick the Deviate Elite 3 the next time if I was gonna run a marathon, just because I feel like the properties of this shoe, where it does best for me is running all out, running fast. So if I was gonna run a 5K, probably up to a half marathon, I would pick this shoe over the Deviate 3. But for a marathon, I'd pick the Deviate 3. And for doing speed reps and things like that, they're both excellent at that. Holy crap, I just ran a 5:40. So that's my first time under 6 minutes in a while. Wow, that's quite the contrast. I was feeling 6:11 feels pretty good. Shoe felt fast and smooth. I put these ones on. I can't do math right now. How many seconds did I just save? So the crazy thing about it is this shoe doesn't feel that much different from the Deviate Elite 3. The on-foot experience, once you're up to speed, when you're walking, this shoe feels stupid. Like, the heel is stupid, it's unstable. If you're gonna wear a shoe and walk around, the Deviate wins on that for sure. Although most people aren't walking around in their expensive carbon plate race shoes. But once you get onto the forefoot of this shoe, that's where their mathematical wizardry has paid off, where I really like this midsole, this aliphatic TPU. I think it's superior to Puma. Puma is what a lot of the brands are using. Gives you a lot of energy turn, very squishy. But me personally, I like the Light Strike Pro kind of feel more than the Puma feel, which is more of a shallow bounce, more dense foam, more supportive, more stable. This kind of skirts right in between the two, where it has the bounce of a Puma foam, but it feels more resilient, more stable, less squishy. So, and then the plate, the rocker design in the front of the shoe just explodes you forward with such ease that I really didn't feel like I was putting that much effort into it, or that much more than in the Deviate. But then I'm looking down at my watch and I'm like 5:30 pace, 5:40 pace, what the hell? So this shoe does what it's supposed to do. Okay, so I've had a couple comparison videos recently not go the way I thought they would at all. This is another one. I compared the Super Blast and the Evo SL last week, and the Evo SL just pants the Super Blast. And that just happened again with these two shoes. Now, this is not a slouch. This is a really good elite level racing shoe. It weighs 7.79 ounces, so it's under 8 ounces. I only have 3 shoes that weigh under 8 ounces in a size 12. This one, the Edge Paris, and the Fast-R Elite. So this is among the lightest shoes that I own. It also has that aliphatic TPU midsole, the Nitro Elite that they use here, that I really think is the best midsole in the game right now. Puma is softer and bouncier. It's not as resilient though. It breaks down sooner, and I feel like it doesn't have as much energy return as this compound does. This has the bounce of a Puma foam, but the resiliency of that TPEE foam that Adidas uses in their Light Strike Pro. So I think it's kind of harnessing the best of both properties of those foams. We're able to get the bounce, the energy return, but also the stability and the resiliency. So this is a great shoe. This is just a better shoe. That's really what it comes down to. This is a pretty narrow shoe. You see the carbon plate in there. I have 75 miles on this. It has Puma grip, which is the best outsole in the game. You know, grips on everything. You don't have to worry about wet pavement out there. As I mentioned earlier too, the tongue, which I think is really smart, the lace goes through here and also there. So instead of just having a piece in the middle like a lot of shoes do, having it on the sides like that really keeps this tongue in place. And the way it sits over your foot, I've never had tongue slide with this tongue in any run. And that pad right here where it says Deviate 3 is right where you tie the laces down. So this is just a comfortable, light, propulsive, great shoe. I could see this being great for every distance from a 5K up to a marathon. I think one of the benefits of this one for a marathon versus the Fast-R is just the more standard heel here, where it's not decoupled, doesn't have that space between the heel and the forefoot. So this is a more natural kind of shoe to run in. Also, if someone's a heel striker, this is going to feel more comfortable for you, especially later in a marathon where you might be going back to your heel more. There's more stability in this one in the heel than there is here. However, where this one really shines is in the forefoot. The forefoot's actually a little bit wider landing platform than in this shoe, and the amount of that foam that's in this forefoot really feels fantastic. You can squish into that, get onto this plate, and get that really explosive toe off. So looking at my times here, the Mag Max was like, I'm no slouch either. You know, I can run a little fast even though I'm big. That one, my warm-up mile was a 7:41. Then I put this shoe on and ran a 6:13, and like I said, it actually felt like I was going faster than that. It felt so light and fast. I really feel like I had good turnover going. It felt really smooth. I was actually surprised that I wasn't closer to a 6-minute mile because it felt like I was running like 6 flat. But the proof is in the pudding. It was a little bit slower than that, but it felt faster than that. As I've mentioned before, I've used this shoe for a lot of like repeats and workouts, and I love it for that because it's comfortable enough that you can use this in the warm-up and it doesn't feel too uncomfortable. Sometimes really stiff extreme super shoes feel uncomfortable in like the warm-up and the cool down. This one you can really take it out, run a couple miles, and then get into your workout and cool down, and it can do it all really well. But then I laced this one up and I ran a 5:41, which is nuts. So it really didn't feel like I was running that fast. Again, I was looking at my watch in like the first half of it, and it was under 5 the whole time. It was like 5:35, 5:40. I'm like, how am I still not ticking up to a 6-minute mile at this point? And I was able to hold that the whole way. So really the gain in efficiency between these two can really not be denied on that run at least. You know, they claim 3.1% more efficient than the Fast-R 2. I just ran over 8% more efficient than the Deviate 3, which is pretty bonkers to me. Something that may have helped me along the way. When I was running along, a rabbit started running next to me. And rabbits are very fast, but I was really flowing in this shoe, and I'm like, come on, rabbit, let's go. And I was trying to race the rabbit, and then it turned right and went away. It didn't want any of that smoke. But that may have given me an extra like 20 seconds of really going for it when I was trying to outrun the rabbit, which I would definitely not have done in a straight line. On a marathon, though, that thing is cooked. I got him. To give some perspective on how light this shoe is in a men's size 12, this is my daughter's Saucony Speed 3 in a women's 6.5. Look at how much smaller this shoe is than mine. you know, a 12 versus a 12 men's versus a 6.5 women's. This shoe weighs 6.2 ounces. This shoe weighs 7.2 ounces. There's 1 ounce difference between these two shoes. So it's almost double the shoe size. The lightness that they've been able to achieve in this big of a shoe is really impressive. Obviously, if this was a, you know, women's carbon plate racing shoe, it would be even lighter than this. But I'm just really pointing out the fact that this shoe, you know, that has Puma foam in it, is pretty much the same weight as this giant race shoe from Puma. They had this at the Dick's outlet store for like less than half price, so I bought this for my daughter last year so that she could dominate the President's Challenge in gym class. So in summary, Puma is back in running in a big way. They're just pumping out great shoe after great shoe. This was the Deviate Nitro 2 that I think I ran in last year or the year before. I didn't get the 3 because I can't buy every shoe. I probably should get it with how much I like Puma. Hey, Puma, you want to send me a Deviate 3? I can't buy all the shoes. But I also got the Velocity 3 in Gore-Tex that I used during the winter, and I really enjoyed this as a daily trainer. The Mag Max is my favorite max cushion shoe right now, and these are 2 of the best race shoes on the market. Now, one thing you can't ignore between these 2 shoes is the difference in price. This one being $230 is actually really reasonably priced for a super shoe, with a lot of them reaching $250, $275, $285. This one's $300. So this one's towards the top end of price for a premium super shoe, although I think the results kind of prove it, that it's worth that money in the right hands. And when I say in the right hands, anybody can run in any shoe, but I think being an elite runner, being a mid-foot, 4-foot striker, putting a lot of pace into this shoe, those people are really going to be able to maximize this to get the most out of it. For myself, I think I can maximize the gains from this shoe on like what I did today. Running 1 mile as hard as I can, running 800-meter repeats. I really want to run a 5K in these, but I think the longer the race goes, the less I'm going to want to use these. I think I could take these up to a half marathon if I wanted to set a new personal best in the half and I trained really well and I felt like I could keep that mid-foot strike going that whole race. This would give me the opportunity to set a new personal best in the half. But when I get to the half or full marathon, I did take these for a full marathon and I struggled at the end. I didn't feel prepared enough to really go all out in that marathon. I shouldn't have picked this shoe. So if you're trained and ready and feeling strong, this can help you achieve those personal bests. But if you need a little bit more support and comfort, that's where this one comes in. This to me it's almost as light. It has almost the same amount of bounce. The plate is not as stiff, so it's more compliant. So I think this would be more comfortable and easier to use for most people. But if you can really run hard and optimize your foot strike and you're crushing it out there, this thing can really take you to new heights. Right as I was finishing this, my next video just showed up. I got the New Balance Rebel V5 just came to my door as I'm filming this. So I'll be doing a first impression of this shoe very soon, and then I think I'm going to match this up with the Evo SL, because they're both in that category of a daily shoe that can run fast, that's reasonably priced. So I haven't even laced these ones up yet, but I'm excited to give these a go. If you made it this far, I'll put a little blooper in the end there for you. If you ever watch those trick shots on YouTube, like Dude Perfect, where they make these amazing shots, they show you the good take. They don't show you like the 500 times they shot it and missed before they actually got the one that they're showing you. So here's just me messing up saying a shoe name a couple times. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, it's time for the Fast-R 3. Puma's... All right, it's time for the Fast-R 3. Damn it. Can't all be good takes.